Hello. I've never done a video like this before, so apologies if this turns out to be shit. But I decided that while I'm take two. All right. So basically, last Christmas I bought my mother a book nook for all these things. It's meant to be like a. Should I do another fucking take? It's meant to be like a little diorama of a book, and yeah, it fits inside your bookcase and it lights up and all this kind of shit. But 8 months later, I found out that all she and my father have done is this. So I figured I would try and finish off the rest of it myself. However, since that is probably going to take me the rest of the day, can't even look at the fucking camera, right? However, since that will probably take me the rest of the day, I decided to use this time to review some extreme horror novels I decided to start reading recently. So, backstory, I'm not a huge reader. I think the only other horror novel I've ever read is Misery by Stephen King, and I found that incredibly boring. I think Stephen King is a phenomenal author, but he fucking paces his books very, very slowly. Like, my God, he spends pages describing stuff, and he lost me within the first 30 pages. So the reason I decided to give disturbing horror novels a try is because I'm kind of desensitized to horror at this point. Like, I've seen Martyrs, I've seen Possessor, I've seen Inside, I've seen every fucked up horror movie you can think of. So regular horror doesn't do anything for me anymore. It doesn't evoke any feeling with me. So I thought by maybe reading some of these books that maybe I could, I don't know, maybe I can finally read another book that evokes something inside me. Maybe I can finally read a book that scares me or leaves me feeling very disturbed. So I decided to give some of these books a try. This isn't scripted at all, so it's probably going to be really bad, but I decided, let's give it a go. So, he couldn't move. He was stuck. Stuck inside an unconscious prostitute's vagina. Stuck without even the room to exhale. So what you just heard was not a passage from my diary. The police still have that in their possession. But it was instead a excerpt from Woom. This is an extreme horror novel. And yeah, kind of, yeah. So Woom tells the story of a guy named Angel, not his real name obviously, who decides to revisit an old motel where his mother died a few years ago. And how do I describe this without getting demonetized? I don't think I can. Okay, so yeah, so he goes and he gets a room at the lonely motel, and this room is where his mother died several years ago. Once he gets inside the room, he decides to call for a prostitute. However, he doesn't just want any kind of prostitute. He wants the biggest prostitute imaginable. And not for the reasons you might think. So anyways, a few hours pass, and this prostitute, or sex worker, named Shyla shows up to the motel. And the thing about it is, Angel hasn't called Shyla for any sexual purposes. I mean, he does do sexual stuff with her, but he's not getting any gratification out of it. So, really all he wants is for Shyla to sit down and listen to him. What the fuck? So basically all Angel wants is for Shyla to sit down and listen to him tell her some sob stories while he cries about how hard his life has been. So basically a regular Saturday night for me. And so he begins to recount some stories about different people he's met in his life. For example, he met a drug dealer whose girlfriend whose girlfriend got in a bit of trouble with some other dealers, and as such, he had to start smuggling drugs across the border and all this kind of thing. And he also recounts a story of a woman who visits a hospital to have an abortion, but she's already 24 weeks pregnant, so the doctors won't perform the procedure. So she decides to go home and perform the operation herself using a clothes hanger, and it is. So yeah, basically, in a way, Woom reads more like a collection of short stories, if you will. But at first, it doesn't seem like any of these stories relate back to Angel. But by the end, you realize that everything connects in a pretty satisfying way. And up until the final chapter, I thought this book was fantastic. I thought it was well written. I thought the characters were funny and well developed. And then it just kind of goes off the fucking rails completely. And I don't know if I can talk about the final chapter without having my YouTube channel nuked from orbit. But you see, I want to say it's disturbing, but the issue is that I was kind of laughing out loud during the entire thing. And that's not because it isn't disturbing. It is disturbing. It's more to do with the fact that it's so fucking over the top and comes out of left field that there's nothing else I could do but laugh, because the whole time I was kind of like, what the fuck is going on right now? But it stayed with me. I'm still thinking about the thing a few weeks later, so obviously it had some kind of reaction on me. Obviously it had some kind of effect on me. So would I recommend this book? I don't know. I think the first half, 2/3 of it is very good. I think it's very well written. I think it's very funny. And honestly, you see, I always have to be careful, because I know, my therapist could be watching or something. But I didn't find this book all that disturbing. I didn't. I felt like there was disturbing stuff in it, but usually it was so over the top to the point where I almost felt like satire. Like, I was kind of like, right, this guy must be taking the fucking piss, So, I don't know. If you're looking for an extreme horror novel, I don't know if you'll get a lot out of this. I think read this if you're looking for something different. For want of a better term. If you're looking for something unique and something you haven't read before, I'd recommend this book. It's not perfect. It's very short. I don't think the characters have the time to get the development they should. But yeah, Woom is pretty good, and I give it 3 stars out of 5. So yeah. So the last book I want to talk about today is Dead Inside.
Hell no. Come on, Wayne. To the no, no, no. Come on, come on. Hell to the no. To the no, no, no. Come on. Hell no, no. To the no, no. To the no, 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 no. To the no, no. To the no, no. Hell to the no, no. Hell to the no, no. To the no, no. Hell to the no.
Dead Inside. Fucking hell, where do I start with this one? Okay, brace yourselves for this one. I don't think my channel is going to survive this, but I will give it my best shot. So Dead Inside is about a security guard who works at a hospital in Ohio. He's not given a name for some reason. I think the woman is called Helen. Yeah, the woman's called Helen, but the protagonist, if that's what you want to call him, does not have a name, but he is a security guard at a hospital. And for the first few pages, everything seems normal about this guy. He doesn't seem very interested in women, at least living women, but he seems to be pretty adequate at his job, and he keeps to himself, and he has a great sense of humor. So, you're wondering, well, I wonder what's up with this guy. And it doesn't take long for you to realize that he enjoys being intimate with dead people. You know, it's fair enough, whatever floats your boat. And so yeah, this continues for a while. He's been doing this for a few years now, going down to the morgue when no one is there and having his way with the dead people in the morgue. And he seems happy enough, you know. The weird thing is he's a popular guy. He's had girlfriends before. He just has no interest in them in that way. He frequently says stuff like, "Oh, they'd be beautiful if they didn't have a pulse," or stuff like that. So yeah, that's how his life is. He goes to work. Whenever he gets the opportunity, he has sex with dead people. And so yeah, this continues until he meets a woman named Helen. And Helen is a nurse at the hospital. And Helen has her own morbid obsession. And that is that she enjoys eating... Oh, can I even say this shit? She enjoys eating dead babies, basically. And... Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, she enjoys eating dead babies. And... So basically, these two people have their own lives. At one point, they meet up and they begin a friendship. And I'm going to be honest, it's kind of fucking cute. It's kind of adorable when the two of them meet up. I mean, do they have sex with dead people? Yeah, sure, but they're so cute together. You know, like, who cares to eat dead babies? Like, they are fucking adorable. But... And you're probably wondering why I can even say that about two such people, two horrendous people. But the thing about it is, and I probably should have mentioned the author, Chandler Morrison is his name. The thing about Chandler Morrison is he's a fucking phenomenal author. Like, this book is so well written, and the characters are so well written that even though they're scumbags, and they are the absolute worst, you still like... Jesus Christ, I really need to watch what I'm saying. You still like them, in a way? Like, the thing about this book is that it's hilarious. Like, it is the funniest book I've ever read by a country mile. I laughed out loud about 20 times throughout the book, and it's not a long book. So I'll just read a few passages for you. Why are you naked? That's the only question I'm able to force past my lips, despite the existence of other, more obvious inquiries. Like, why are you eating that dead baby? Or, what the fuck is going on here? Or... Don't you at least want some sauce to dip that in? There's a lot of really dark humour in this book, and if that's not your kind of thing, then stay the fuck away. But I think this book is absolutely hilarious, and if for no other reason, buy it for that, because it's brilliant. It's so well written, and even the main character is so, like, he's a vile piece of shit, and yet I couldn't look away. I wanted to know everything this guy thought about. You know, I wanted to know all his darkest secrets. Like, but yeah, at one point in the book, Helen and this guy, they try to start a relationship, and like I said, it's very cute. They go on a date, and you know, the main protagonist, he's freaking out because he's starting to fall for this woman with a pulse, basically, and that doesn't sit right with him at all. But you know, they're really cute together, which is a really fucked up thing to say, but they are. But unfortunately, you know, after they've gone on a date, you know, they try to take things to the next level, but he's not able for it, and so he freaks out and he runs off, and that's the end of that. So at that point, Helen kind of accepts that they're never going to be a romantic item, and as such, they decide to just be good friends. And the problem with that is that these are two fundamentally flawed people, so the two of them hanging out probably isn't the wisest idea, because what happens is they're already pretty fucked up. I think that's pretty obvious. But what happens when they get together is that they start goading each other into doing worse and worse stuff. And it's here where I started to lose any sympathy I had for the characters, because while what they're doing is fucked up, and it is fucked up, they're only doing it to dead people. And I know, Jesus Christ, please don't investigate me or something over saying that. I know doing this stuff to dead people is not okay. What I'm saying is, would I rather Helen eat a dead baby or an alive baby? You know, the dead baby, obviously. You know, would I rather? Let's just leave it there before I fucking get myself in more trouble. So, but what happens when they get together is that they start goading each other into doing worse and worse shit. So at one point, and I will not go into detail about this scene because it's fucking vile. Helen is like, well, you fuck dead people, I eat dead babies. Have you ever fucked a dead baby? You know, and I'll leave what happens up to your imagination, but it's fucking disgusting. And it was the first time while reading these books that I kind of thought, maybe this shit isn't for me. You know, maybe this book crosses a line that I didn't want crossed. So yeah, and from there, they just get worse and worse. And I really liked Helen at the start of the book, but I fucking despised her by the end. You know, because at one point it kind of feels like they're going to cop themselves on. You know, it feels like they're going to finally grow up and stop this fucking dead people thing. And they're going to start a relationship together and they're going to be normal. But the thing that frustrates me so much about this book is that there's no character development. Neither of these people change for the better. They change for the worse, if anything. And I just stopped giving a shit about them by the end. That was annoying. However, I have read interviews with the author, Chandler Morrison, where he has said that the whole thing is satire. And I mean, it's very obviously satire. Because if you read his other books, you'll notice that none of his other books are anything like Dead Inside. He wanted this to be a satirical take on extreme horror novels. So it is completely over the top in every way. It takes the piss every chance it gets. And yeah, I guess it succeeded in that way, but I was still left feeling disappointed. And it's such a weird thing to say, but I was disappointed by how, by how much these characters let me down. Like, my expectations for these two people were already low, and yet they still disappointed me. So now I finally understand how my parents must feel. One other thing is that I've seen other reviews where they claim that this book is about finding... You know how people always say, oh, there's someone out there for everyone, and that this is about finding your tribe or your group or whatever, or finding that one person who understands you. And I don't know if I agree with that because, like I said, these two people should not be friends. Helen and the security guard, they should not be hanging out together, because when they hang out together, they do even worse shit. Like, at one point, Helen straight up kills a woman. Like, she was going to die anyways, but she could have saved her, and she didn't, because she got a rush out of it, basically. So, no, I don't think I don't agree with that sentiment, but I also understand, like, because I was the weird kid in school. I bet you never could have guessed. But, so in a way I understand where these other reviews are coming from, because there is an element of, finally finding a place where you belong. Because for the longest time, like when I was in school, no one understood me, and I didn't really get along with anyone. And now I have more friends, and, I've even dated a fair few girls, but I'm not even talking like romantically. Like, it's mostly my friends who understand the kind of person I am. Usually my partners, usually the girls I go out with, don't really understand my sense of humor or anything like that. For example, like, there was one girl who I tried to explain the kind of person I was to her, when we were dating. And she would keep coming out with crazy shit like, who are you? And why are you holding me here against my will? And like, that really hurt, It really hurt right here, because I felt like I had finally found someone I connected with, and it wasn't to be. But that happens, I guess. But yeah, if you're reading this book, if your big takeaway from this book is that you should find people as fucked up as you are to hang out with. I would not follow that train at all. I don't think that's a very good idea at all. But yeah, that's Dead Inside. Honest to God, I have serious issues with this book, but I love it. I love this book so much. I think it's brilliant. I think it's so well written. And while some of the content is absolutely disgusting, if you can accept that it's satire and it's not meant to be taken seriously, like it's so over the top that if you take it seriously, you know, you're an idiot basically. I think you'll find a lot to love here. It's not the kind of book I would give to my mom, obviously, but yeah, anyone who has any interest in horror or dark humor especially should check out Dead Inside. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. It would be a 5 out of 5, but the last third of the book kind of let me down with how despicable the two leads became. So yeah, that's my first part of these book reviews. I know this turned out shite probably, but I've never put myself on camera like this before, and I didn't know what format to review books in. Like, you can't just... I can't review books the same way I review video games, if that makes sense. So I gave this a go, and if it's shit, please tell me it was shit, so I refrain from ever doing it again. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found some stuff you might consider reading, and thanks for watching.